All right.
Hey, hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are
Awesome.
you?
All right. So you wanted a session today. What did you want to talk about?
Dating,
Dating.
relationship. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what in particular in dating do you want to discuss?
Well, I'm intrigued. My dating pattern seems to be um, I tend to just walk away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I wanted to know, really been sitting with if I'm new in a new relationship, newly dating someone, and they do things that annoy me. I guess I don't know the parameters around what's like in a relationship. It's never, I know that it's never perfect, never normal, but
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to just explore that because I haven't been in a relationship ever where I've been with the same person every day. So I know this is a big one for me because my whole body feels tight. My neck feels
Mm-hmm.
tight and hot. So
Yeah, which I think, as we've discussed in the past, always the body tells us when we're triggered and there's something that we need to take a look at. So I think that was really, the great thing to bring to the table today,
yeah.
which is great. Okay, so you're newly dating someone and
Yeah.
they're doing things that annoy you.
Yeah.
And so why is it a problem if they're doing things that annoy you?
Yeah. I guess I'm not clear. I guess I'm not trusting myself enough to know whether this is the person for me or not because I get focused on if he's doing something that's annoying me and bugging me, it's only going to get worse as the relationship goes down the road because I guess I have this idea that it's the beginning is that honeymoon stage
Mm-hmm.
feeling, but I don't, because I haven't been in a relationship where, like I said, where I see the same person every day. I don't know. Yet I can be with my kids every day and they do lots of things that
Yeah, I think that's a really good comparison, right? Because we love them even though they annoy us.
yeah.
And and really to imagine that there is somebody who will never annoy us is really probably not possible.
Right. Okay.
Not
That's,
possible at all.
yeah. So that's, I've been really sitting with, um, because this is someone that I've dated before.
Mm-hmm.
And we dated for a few months a few years ago. And that was the same thing that happened. So started to do things that annoyed me and it started to get worse. And then rather than bringing, I know you and I had a coaching session around this, but rather than bringing communication and talking to him about it, I just
Mm-hmm.
walked away.
Right, right.
Um, I didn't ghost him. We actually stayed friends, really,
Mm-hmm.
really good friends. And then, yeah, really good friends. Like conversation is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like um, I enjoy being with him. But then there are these things that, and I find that um, if he's doing something like talking, if we're talking on the phone and sort of this doesn't sound very nice, but sort of giving me like a play by play of things that I don't find, because I guess I feel like my life is busy with the kids and I don't know, to shift into like relationship mode where even though I don't feel like I want to hear a detailed story about something that I find, I find annoying to listen to, it's important that he wants to share it. And I guess it's just, then I'm hyper focused on that and whether or not this is relationship material, like if this is how it is in a relationship.
Right.
So I kind of get stuck there. And I think I'm just, um, yeah, I think I don't know what to compare it to. So
Mm-hmm.
then I start to think, well, if this kind of stuff is bugging me and annoying me already, how are we going to move forward together? So that's a really big one.
Yeah, yeah. And it sounds like there's a lot of fear there of
Mhm.
picking the wrong person. So you want
Yeah.
to be cautious that it feels good in the beginning so that it will feel good in the future. If it
Yeah.
doesn't feel good in the beginning, how is it possibly going to feel good in the future? Is kind of what you're thinking.
Yes. And it's interesting because when I was married, like he went away to work, so he would be home. Like I can't remember what it was, home a couple of weeks and then away a couple of weeks, or even just away for a couple of days. He was away a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I would find myself looking forward to that time.
Yes.
So um, it's intriguing to me that you're in a relationship with people, and I love it. I love that idea of being with the same person every day. And like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so um, this is, yeah, I guess just trying to make that switch, I guess, into like embracing all of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think um, if we go back to the relationship formula, right, which is you plus me equals us,
Right.
and how we've talked about before that the only thing we can control in a relationship is the me. So we can't control the person in the relationship that we're in with, and we can't control the actual relationship. So the first thing to do when you're triggered, so you're triggered by, so the circumstance here is that he is, so you're talking on the phone to him
Yeah.
and he's play by play giving you the details.
I know that doesn't sound very nice, but in that moment, because I guess things are busy in my day and busy with the kids, and my mind's kind of hopping around a lot.
Yeah.
So then when I have to pull myself up really back into just like this, really being very patient, I guess, I
Mm-hmm.
find myself going, just feeling like, I don't, yeah, kind of like, speed it up, kind of, or,
I got things to do.
yeah,
So there's a couple things here, right? So when we are in a relationship and we are really talking about, wanting to connect. So we don't want to go into a relationship and not deeply connect with them. We want to be real. We want to be vulnerable and honest and open so that we really can connect, because a relationship without connection is really lonely. It's not going to fulfill us at all.
right,
So, in order to connect, we have to be very vulnerable and honest and open. But most of us don't want to do that because it's scary. What if they get upset with us? What if, if we're being honest and real and say, hey, really, I don't enjoy when you give me the play by play because I'm busy and I really want to connect with you, but this isn't working for me this way. Could we find a different way or whatever? That doesn't feel comfortable because, well, I don't know, does that not feel comfortable for you?
well, since I don't, so I kind of did that. Like so I did bring to the, we were talking on the phone, and I did say that I didn't want to talk as often throughout the day on the
Mm-hmm.
phone, and he didn't like that. So then
Right.
that caused a big, um, a disconnect.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's what he felt.
yeah, and I felt it too. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I guess it's just that, like, trusting my own knowing. That's I guess the piece that I don't in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship. So yeah,
Yeah, well, that's the sense that I'm getting, is that you're gun shy. You don't want to go all in if he's the wrong person. So you're watching for signals that this isn't going to be a relationship that is what you want.
yeah,
Tell
that's
me
it.
I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's it. Like rather than just being joyful in the moment and just,
Excuse me.
because there are those moments too, But for whatever reason, when something bugs me or annoys me, that seems to matter more.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And, you know, I mean, that is human nature, is that we are on alert for things that will be dangerous. You know, it's not really dangerous, but we don't want to get hurt. So in that way, if we choose someone that, you know, we are vulnerable and real with, but they turn out to be not giving us what we need, then we're going to be disappointed or hurt, or so we learn to avoid being intimate with anyone in case we're going to get hurt. So it's really avoiding being hurt is
Yeah.
what you're doing. You're being super careful so that you don't end up getting hurt again.
Yeah. That's what happens. And then I just go numb.
Yes.
Like I just don't think about it, and until I have a day like today where then I find I was really doubting, like really wondering, like, is that you know how it is, because I do enjoy his company. So and yeah, so that's where I guess I'm stuck.
Okay, so the first thing I think we need to do is take a look at what you're making, what you're making, sorry.
I'll have to water.
Darn. Ah, stop.
What's on your computer? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, so when you're on the phone with him and you're listening to him play by, you know, give play by play of everything that's going on for him, and what are you thinking? So we're pulling this back to you. We're taking it out of
Oh, okay.
thinking he's wrong or he's bad or he needs to be doing something different or he's not the right one. You know, so instead of focusing on looking at what about him is good or what's not, it's looking at your triggers to find out what is going on for you. So we start there. So what are you making it mean when he is giving you all these details on the phone
That's so interesting.
or
Like,
when you're talking?
yeah, if I'm really, really, like, that's what I love about these sessions. This is where I can be totally honest.
Mm-hmm.
um,
And that's the only way we can really get to the truth of it, right? Is we have
yeah.
to be honest with ourselves first.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. So when you asked me that, what came up was that, and I can feel like my whole neck or my face feels hot because I feel embarrassed about this thought.
Mm,
But is that I'm busy, and he should know that I'm busy with
right.
kids,
No.
and I don't want to hear. Yeah, it's,
So when
that's not
you look
very
at that, right?
acting.
You know, and we don't want to judge, and that's a really big thing. Anytime we take a look at ourselves, in order for us to feel safe to be honest with ourselves or with somebody else, it's really not about there's no right or wrong. It's we really just want to be honest with what's going on and what we're thinking. And that's when we can do our own inner work and find our way past the stuck point, right? So in order to do that, you know, you're being super honest with, he should know that I'm busy. So when you're believing that,
Yeah,
you're talking to him and he's carrying on and on and on, and you're thinking, he should know that I'm busy. How does that make you feel when he doesn't know you're busy and he continues on? Even after you kind of mention, maybe we could not talk so much or whatever it was that went on.
that's so interesting because um, I I see because I've mentioned it to a couple of friends,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was looking for validation. I think I was looking to be victim, I guess. Um, yeah, it's
So because you've done so much coaching, right, you're onto yourself a little bit more.
yeah.
But let's stick to how this made, let's work through the model. So how
Okay.
does it make you feel when you're thinking, he should know that I'm busy, but he doesn't? He doesn't stop, he carries on. How does
Um,
that make you feel emotionally?
yeah, that irritated, like that angry. I'm not angry, but just pissed off. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you feel irritated, and you said that you felt it physically. Where do you feel it physically when you?
Yeah, all on my neck. Um, yeah, but as I'm um, talking it out with you, he's there for me.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. So what's so fascinating when we start to take a look and we're really honest with ourselves is that we can begin to see past it. So we're not holding on so tightly, and that's the power of really taking a deeper look at our thinking, our feelings, and then the next one really is action. So when you really are still believing it, so you're kind of shifting out of it a little bit, but let's go back in this. He should know that I'm busy, and
Yeah.
you're feeling irritated.
Yeah.
What do?
Sometimes I don't answer if he calls, and it really shifts my mood. Like it really shifts into like, like that kind of a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you do answer.
Um,
What
yeah.
do you?
Yeah. Then I would just, because it wasn't always, it was starting to be a couple of times a day. And then, yeah. Hmm.
So you
Um,
kind of avoid him.
well, you know what yeah, sorry.
And what else were you going to say?
You know what I've done too? Because this is the place of all confessions. I've kind of cut him off on the phone too. And that's not very nice. He was starting to tell me something that is pretty basic that, like, I already knew. And I just finished telling him that I knew about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was about to dive into like breaking it all down for me. And then I just went, oh, yeah, no, and I just totally jumped in and cut him off.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. But I don't enjoy the phone call because
Right.
I'm just, like you said, watching for the things that are going to bug me.
Okay, so that's kind of another action, watching for things that bug you.
And I'm not connecting. Like I'm not in that place.
Okay, so that's the result, right? So when you take the action of either avoiding him, not answering his calls, or cutting him off, or just focusing on what he's not doing well, that could put you on alert for this relationship, that this may not be a good relationship. So the result is that you're in your own mind.
Yes.
And not connecting.
No. And then I'm not like truly like I'm not feeling very good about like when I hang up. I'm not feeling very good about that. But then I just numb out. I just move on and just like you said, I'm busy in my head and busy with the kids and I don't really stop to really give it enough thought.
Right. And so the pattern continues that you in your dating life is that you kind of, like you said, when you're dating and something comes up, you pull away and you tend to walk away from relationships when you have this red flag or this fear that perhaps this isn't the right person.
Yes. Yeah, I was thinking that this morning. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, I guess like
go ahead.
oh no, sorry. I was just, but I know it's not. Like, I guess in my head I have this idea that it's like a movie. Like I'm gonna meet someone and it'll be like, oh, and I'll just know deep in my soul, and that'll be that connection. And yeah,
and I think that is a truth that is, if we now look at a truth that you have. So let's do this other thought work with this truth. So here's your thought. Relationships should be like the movie.
yeah, yeah, or TV shows. Yeah,
where there's, you're deeply in love and it's amazing.
yeah. Like you did the knowing, and then the rest doesn't. Like it's that foundation, and then the rest doesn't matter. Like it all is okay because it comes back to absolute knowing. So yeah, this person bugs me, but I know that I love them. Like with my kids.
Yeah.
So that, yeah.
Yeah. And the interesting thing, right, in relationships is that we often believe that when we find the right person, all our problems are going to go away. Yes, we'll have things happening, but love will take over everything and all will be fine.
Yeah.
And when we give up our power in relationships with this belief, we end up not trying to come up with creative solutions to connect more deeply. We end up not focusing on being who we want to be to attract the love of somebody, right? We're just waiting for that person to show up, and then all's good.
That's me.
And the thing is, this is what we're taught. We're taught that in relationships that, there's going to be the knight in shining armor on the horse coming in, saving us. I mean, those are the fairy tales and the movies and the feel good everything that we have.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that love is not a feeling. So this is interesting, right? Love is not a feeling, it's an action. So in order to really be loving, it requires us to do things that are loving instead of just waiting for this feeling. So the first thing we have to do is really differentiate or really clarify the definition of love. And that love is us every day taking action that is loving.
Okay.
And so that means things like, and I've just posted about this book here, All About Love.
Okay.
And this one here, she really goes into defining what love is. And love is when here are the words that we want to be focusing on. It's to do with care. And I'm just going to look at it so I remember them all.
How great is that? You posted that today?
Yesterday or today.
Oh,
one of the two. Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about?
Yes. Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
What is love?
And I'm trying to find it, and I can't, of course. Anyway.
Yeah, but
I will find it for you.
Okay, thank you. But I wasn't doing loving things. I wasn't.
Right. So what happened is we're like, okay, I don't feel love, so this can't be love.
Right.
But it has nothing to do with a feeling. It has to do with acting lovingly every day in every way. And then you feel the love and they feel the love, right? So love is such a tricky one because we have this very confused belief about what it is, especially if we've been hurt, right? We've been through a relationship, been deeply hurt, and so we're on guard. We're wanting to make sure we do it right and don't get hurt again.
Yeah.
The minute we do that, we're setting ourselves up to be alone and lonely because we will never take the risk to step into a relationship again. Because the reality with relationships is we will always be hurt. The minute we step into a relationship, we don't have control over we realize we don't have control over the other person and we don't have control over how the relationship plays out.
Yeah.
Because, people will disappoint us. They will, we will feel lost. We will feel rejected. We'll feel all these emotions. So really, truly stepping into loving someone and being loving is dangerous. Yeah. But what's more dangerous is never allowing ourselves to go there, because ultimately as humans, we are meant to be deeply connected. And in order to be deeply connected, we have to be vulnerable and real and be acting in a way to create it. So we have to create the love, and we have to create the love every single day in a relationship.
I love that. That's really, because I realize with my kids, I love doing things for them, and I just do it without thinking about it. And,
right.
And like you said, every day, it reminds every day. Yeah, and that fills me up, doing stuff for them. And when I'm doing this, I don't think of it as it's just because I love them so much. But I wasn't doing that with him. I was just not completely in.
Yeah, and it's that 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And whenever we're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, we are never committing to the relationship. And relationships require a commitment because you are going to bang up against things that piss you off, annoy you, you don't like, because we're two different people, right? We have two different rule books of how life should be led. No two people are going to be the same, as we know with our children. They'll do things and we're like, what? No,
Yeah.
that's not the right way to do things, because we think we have the right way. Just like we think with a partner, right? We think our way's better. When you phone, you should phone, and we should talk about important stuff and not waste time. You should
Yeah.
know when I'm busy and when I'm not busy, and you should be considerate. But meanwhile, we can't do that back. We can't be considerate of them because we're needing our own needs met,
Yeah.
and we want them to meet them.
Oh boy. And that's it. That I am feeling that um, alone feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't, and I didn't even look at that. Like I wasn't doing loving things. I wasn't connecting. Um, is this? Can I ask this? To like, are there like when you talk to other clients, are there people that come? As I'm asking it, I think I know the answer, but that come and say that that their partner's driving them nuts, or like things that really really bug them and annoy them. Like, is that? It must be.
Always.
Right?
And the
Okay.
thing about it that I really believe is that, we've talked about how in relationships we are attracted to the people who have the positive and negative personality traits of our parents. And the reason why we're attracted to these kind of people is because we are actually meant to heal any kind of hurts that we had as children. And we all have hurts, and they're not necessarily big ones, but they're all, in some way, we learned that our parents couldn't be there for us all the time and meet all of our needs, because eventually, things shift. We're not babies anymore, and we're expected to do our own thing. So there's this part in childhood we learn that our parents, the people who we loved, can't take care of us the way we want them to take care of us. So these hurts carry on into our relationships. So now we're looking for our partner to give us what our parents wouldn't give us, which is meeting all our needs, making us feel loved, making us feel enough, making us all these things that we couldn't get from our parents. And when we go into this, at the beginning of a relationship, we go in, we're in the romance stage, so we're on our best behaviors, and we really are giving to the other person everything that we love them. We're paying attention, we're unconditionally there, we're present, we're having fun, we're all these things that we do at the beginning of a relationship. But very quickly, and especially if you've been hurt before, you go into the second stage of relationships, and that's of course the power struggle stage. So as soon as you go into the power struggle, you're realizing, hold on, I've been meeting your needs, now I want you to meet my needs.
Yeah.
And so it shifts, but you're not meeting my needs, you're not giving me what I need. So we begin to disconnect, we begin to go into fear, and then we want to go into the control piece of making them either running away from the relationship because it's not safe feeling, or we go into the drama triangle, which is trying to control them. So either, being the villain, as we talked about before, and trying to power over them, or being the rescuer and trying to people please them, or not be honest and just make them happy, or we become the victim and we're like, obviously this isn't going to work. I need you to save me.
Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, that's where I went.
Right. And this is what we've learned to do. So we've absolutely learned that this is the way, instead of stepping back into the core of peace and really learning to take a look at ourselves, to take a look at what we're telling ourselves that doesn't feel good, and finding action that can solve the problem that we're facing, getting creative, taking risks, stepping into doing something that we want to create instead of waiting for them to create it, by figuring out what we need and always meeting our needs, without even telling them what our needs are or how we want them met. We just assume they should know this, like our parents did at a very, young age. As babies, we were looked after and they knew how to do that. And we want that back.
Oh yeah. Isn't that awesome?
But the problem is that nobody can ever, including our parents, could ever give us this ability to meet all of our needs 100%. And the only person that can is ourselves. And that's why stepping back into, the formula, you plus me equals us, where we learn to get out of the you and focusing on, so our thought work, he should know that I'm busy. And realizing when I believe that, it doesn't feel good. And
No.
I definitely don't have a connected relationship. So instead, it's focusing on ourselves. And it's like, coming up with something that feels better in how can I meet my own needs? So here is finding a news story in a relationship. I know that whoever I invite into my life is not going to meet all my needs.
Right.
So how do I how can I get my needs met in a relationship? So this sounds to me like a big fear.
It is a big fear. And I'm also realizing that I haven't carved out a very big piece of my life for someone to come into. I've only given like a small little, we can talk on the phone when it suits me.
Right.
And that's not very, yeah. Okay.
And it makes sense because you're thinking safety. You don't want to get hurt. So you're going to really have very strict rules and they have to pass it for you to let them in.
Yeah. That doesn't feel very good.
Well, and the reality is nobody can meet those strict rules.
Okay.
And, they might be able to at the beginning, but they won't be able to carry that on. You want it to be authentic and real. So you want to know when they have needs that are needing to be, they need met, and what and how they're trying to get their needs met through you. And that you're not the one to always meet their needs and they're not the one to always meet your needs.
Okay.
And understanding that is what a deep connected relationship and a truthful one is. That yes, we can ask, but it's not their obligation to meet our needs.
Right. Okay. Yeah, okay, I wasn't looking at me at all.
And we don't. So that's very much a protective pattern.
Yeah.
We don't want to look at ourselves, but the only way we can move forward is by looking at ourselves, because it's the only place we actually can create the change we want.
Yeah.
We can spend a lot of time needing somebody to change for us and finding the perfect one who already has everything exactly how we want. But that's very, very, very unlikely.
Yeah, it's just this idea that, when I see other couples together,
Mm-hmm.
and I think, is it just like, is it bliss? So you just get each other on such a level that it's, it's just, you can do it without, doesn't take any effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we don't see behind closed doors, right? We see what people will show, and so we can make all kinds of assumptions of what it's really like. And it also, we don't know if they've come together in their relationship in unconditional love and acceptance for who they are, and doing our own work to accept them. For a person who, when he chats, wants to give play by play, knowing this and being okay with it. And then if we are not okay with it, saying, I don't have time right now, let's connect later.
Right.
Communicating, right? So this is how you create a really strong relationship, is knowing exactly how to speak up.
Yeah.
And not needing people to read our minds and not needing someone else to solve all our problems. Because in a relationship, it's not possible.
Okay.
It's really
And
not.
when I did bring that, piece, when we were talking on the phone, and I did open up and I shared, I didn't want to, and he didn't really like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went into, that he should, the same thing, he should know that there's nothing wrong with me saying that.
Mm. Yeah, and the thing is, he may or may not, and that's not up to you to tell him what he should or shouldn't know.
I know, that's where
right?
I got stuck.
And so, and this is why being vulnerable and real and asking for what we want is sometimes going to be, the reaction is going to be negative. They're not going to like it.
Right.
But it's our job to be super clear when we're not able to fully connect, and when we can't be the listener, we can't be attentive, we can't be caring because it's just not the right timing for us. You can say, and if wanting to really be doing the loving actions is, we can't force them, so we have to be real when we can or we can't.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because I was just thinking before you said that, will there be a time where I really want to hear play? Like, if I say now's not a good time or whatever, and then can we talk later?
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting why that bugs me so much. Well, I know why, because
I was going to say, why. So what is it? What bugs you?
Because I have my day mapped out, like with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I know what's happening, and when a curveball comes in and something that I didn't plan for, because I don't like talking on the phone like very much at all.
Right.
It's interesting that I like my day doing what I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
mapped it out and doing all the things.
So, and I think this goes back to, you're not giving much space for an actual relationship.
Yeah.
Because in a relationship, there is going to be give and take, right? And we are going to have to, at times, be open to finding a solution. And that might be at times saying, okay, today maybe it works that we can have a chat.
Okay.
And compromising.
Oh, okay. This has been really big for me because when I look at it from me, I haven't left a lot of, just what we said, I haven't left a lot of room for someone to come in.
Mm-hmm. And it makes sense because it's really protecting yourself, right?
Yeah.
But in reality, it's going to hurt you more in the long run because as humans, connection is so vital.
That's what I was thinking this morning. Like, how many dates I've been on, that I just, something happened, something, and I focus on it, thinking this is scary. This is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that in the moment, but now looking back, and I just walk away and I just numb.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, what's also interesting is that I recorded a video for the Joy Diet group, our group, and we're on the chapter of connection.
Okay.
And it's such a key chapter because it requires us to do all the Joy Diet items, which is being still, doing nothing, being truthful, figuring out what we desire, figuring out how we can creatively get our desires met, and then taking a risk. So each of these key Joy Diet ingredients are an important thing to be able to do then, not only with ourselves, which we learn first, but then with another person. So a way you can really begin to reconnect to yourself first. So we've talked a lot about how when we want to connect to somebody, we can't do it until we're really connected to ourselves, because we end up trying to connect from safety,
Yeah.
and fear, but you can't connect from there. So first we have to feel safe within ourselves, and it doesn't matter what anybody does around us. We know that we've got our own back. We know that we can take care of ourselves. So we need to learn to connect to ourselves, and to do that is getting still, being with yourself, doing your truth, so coming up with the stories that we just talked about. Whereas, relationships should be like the movies. They should be this, like, and if it's not, it's not what I want.
Yeah.
So if you believe that story, is it actually serving you? Is it giving you a result that you want?
No. And when you said, when you were going through the nothing and the truth, and when you said risk, I could feel it right in my chest. My heart was racing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So before we try to do risk with a partner, we want to risk in ourselves, and we want to get comfortable with taking risks, and we want to know what is a good risk and what isn't a good risk for us. So it's learning to trust ourselves, learning to be able to take care of ourselves, and then we can open up to letting someone else in, but keeping these same connection with ourselves when we let somebody else in.
Yeah.
And that's where we can be honest. We can say, this isn't meeting my needs right now. Is there something we can figure out that, so that's being honest. And it's the desire is, I really just want to keep my routine with the kids right now. We're in the midst of something. So maybe stating a desire, and then whether creatively coming up with a way to solve it.
Okay.
So what can we do? What would be a great solution? Because you will constantly hit up against problems.
Yeah.
And the whole idea about problems, right, is that we have this belief that conflict or problems are bad.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's life. There is constantly going to be problems. And every time we hit a problem and we solve it, we've just grown. So if we don't want to have any problems, we will never grow. We won't actually be able to be who we want to be.
Yeah. So I'm laughing because that's me.
So it's embracing, even starting with problems and embracing what they actually mean. That they're not bad, but they're actually an opportunity to really grow and to evolve into more of who we want to be.
Yeah. Well, it's a really great reminder for me to spend more time with myself first. I totally jumped into waiting for the night.
Yeah.
And I really did. Yeah, but I wasn't giving back.
So it really it's keeps us. We think it keeps us safe because we're not going to let anybody in, really, because we won't let anybody in, as long as they annoy us in any way or they're not giving us what we need. Then we will never have to risk being hurt.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we're hurting ourselves all along the way because we really want to be connected and feel love and be loving. Just like with our kids, we want that feeling.
Okay. It's so interesting because I did feel that at one time with him. So, and then I get stuck in my head.
So, really, I think the secret of moving forward in any relationship, because you don't know how it's going to turn out, but is to take every trigger. So there was an example, you were triggered by this phone call where he was, play by play, and you were wishing that he knew you were busy and to stop, right? Yeah. So you can do your work, you can put it through the thought model and take your time to find out your truth. So that's the second one in the Joy Diet, right? Really figuring out what your truth is there. And your truth is you believed he should know when you're busy and to not talk too much.
Okay, I was going to ask, what is truth? Like, is that, like, so if I get, I get still and quiet, and then I guess that's where I kind of get stuck. Like I don't spend. But what am I? Like the truth is what I want in a relationship.
Well, the truth is what you're believing. So you're believing. So this is where you're coming clear with a truth that you have. That a relationship should be like this, amazing. We know we're in love. So when you believe that, how
Oh,
does it
okay.
make you feel when you're not finding that?
Okay.
So then you realize you have a truth that's not serving you. And what else could you think instead? This is where some of the concepts that we talk about is that, really understanding love in a different way. And it's like, I'm open to learning a new way to define love. Could be a new thought.
Okay. I was going to ask what could I think instead? Okay.
So you want it to be, and this is where um, it's really takes practice to
Mhm.
find something that feels better. So you're just basically brainstorming and learning. So the coaching that we've done, right, is learning new ways to think and new truths that feel better.
Okay.
So we have all these truths. Some feel really shitty when we believe them, and
Yeah.
some feel really peaceful and calm. And
Okay.
so none of them are really truths. They're just what we believe. So we want to know what we believe, and that's really what our truth is in the moment. So it's the thing that we're believing and we're acting on. So we want to do the thought work to see what it is that it's creating for us, and do we like that result? And if we don't, then we're able to choose to think about what else would feel better for me right now to think about.
Okay. Yeah, this has been so great because I didn't even realize that I thought that about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I wasn't. Um,
And this is where the nothing, right, is us in a session are doing nothing. So you're not distracted. You're thinking. You're connecting with you, and this is where things start to come out,
mhm.
and we hear them. But in our day-to-day life, we get so busy distracting ourselves from really hearing ourselves.
Yeah.
We can't even get to what we're really believing because we don't stop long enough to hear it and notice it.
No, I don't. Yeah, I just jump around and
Yeah.
start talking to somebody new.
That's right. So you have your protective patterns in place, and this is beginning to notice there's some of these are not working for you.
No.
It may have worked in the past, but right now, because you want to feel loving and feel loved, this protective pattern isn't allowing that to happen.
No. And I didn't realize that I haven't carved out a big enough space in my life. Like it's like a little piece where it would work best for me.
Right.
And so,
And so maybe a new thought is I'm open to um, rearranging my life for someone to fit into.
okay, that feels
Maybe
nice.
so you notice how it makes you feel. And if it feels interesting or it doesn't feel scary, it feels inspiring, that there's something you could follow up on, then you've kind of hit onto something you want to, excuse me, play with a little bit more.
That does feel nice. I
Mhm.
am open. Did you say? I am open to,
Making more space in my life for
yeah,
an
relationship.
intimate relationship.
Okay. And changing up that's a big one. I am open to rearranging my life or to have someone in it to share with.
Hmm.
That's pretty
And if
big.
it feels too scary, then it's not right yet. It's not the right one. So your body and your emotions will guide you if you've got the next step for yourself.
That one does feel good though. My body feels better.
Right. So then you can play with that one. And when you're feeling better, so you're feeling excited or intrigued,
Yeah.
what action do you feel inspired to take?
I don't know. I do feel some excitement though. I
Hmm.
do feel like there's hope.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, that just really connecting to myself
Hmm.
instead of staying busy in my head. Mm.
Yeah, so it could be something simple as noticing, I'm going to notice when I'm triggered and I'm going to turn it around to me. So that could be your new thought.
Oh yeah, I like that.
I'm going to notice that I'm triggered and I'm going to pull myself out of the drama triangle or out of just avoiding relationships altogether
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
look at myself here so I can get out of my own way.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, because that seems to be a place where I can't catch myself.
Hmm.
I get so in like it, I just walk away. I just numb. So
Right.
that's a really big one for me.
And I think even as you begin really committing to noticing you're triggered and to turning it back to you,
Yeah.
it's start not in relationships, you know, because I think that feels scary for you. You've got a lot of protection around you. You don't want to get hurt. I
Hmm.
mean, it can be in not as important relationships. So maybe even with strangers when you go get your coffee, or whatever, something that triggers you and you go, oh, fascinating. Let me have a look at that.
Okay.
Or if it's with your kids, or if it's with a friend, and you can see what feels okay for you and know that you can be very gentle, gently looking at yourself.
And turn it back around. That's so interesting. I love that. Thank you. When you said that about friends,
Mm,
I have like deep, relationship with friends.
right.
It's interesting.
Yes.
Hmm,
Yeah.
that's an interesting one. Okay, well, yeah, well, thank you for that. A turning around to me is a
Mhm.
big one.
Yeah. And that's always the hard part, right? Because we're so attached to the blaming, the judging, to keep safe.
Yeah,
This is why we're doing it. So when we can get connected back to ourselves and do nothing, get still, and learn we're safe in ourselves. We're always safe right here.
yes.
Then we're feel okay to step out into relationships because we know we're okay no matter what happens.
Yeah, I love that. And it's interesting, like, because I said to you, and I heard myself say that I don't really like talking on the phone, but I prefer
Mhm.
texting. And I'm just looking like now, seeing how rigid my life is, and that I like texting because it fits in when I want it to.
Right.
So not only do I not allow space for a phone call, I'm not, oh, I haven't left enough. That's what I said a couple of times. Room for
Hmm.
someone to come into my life. Okay, but that's what I want. And that
Hmm.
feels good.
So, another thought where you can look at is um, it's scary. I'm scared to open my time up to
Yeah.
somebody else on the phone. So it'd be look at why does it feel scary to have a phone call? Ask yourself that.
Yeah, because I feel like it's eating into time that I have to get stuff done here.
Right. And I'm wondering, it's scary for you to have to speak up that
Yes.
you're busy.
Yes. Um,
So you can't be totally honest on the phone.
mhm.
Whereas the texting, you could just wait until it works.
Yeah. That's because I did say that on the phone to him and he didn't like it. Like you said, he doesn't, I don't know how he's going to. But then after that, I went into victim
Right.
and I didn't catch myself.
And the thing is, it's not needing them to be okay with our
Okay.
decisions. We are communicating what we want. And we can't rely on somebody else's, or we can't make someone's reaction be whether we tell them or not.
Okay.
So it's starting in a relationship with being super clear, and it's like right now, I'm learning how to open my time
Yeah.
more. And that's been scary for me because I've been, protecting myself. And you may not even want to say that to him, but you can say it to yourself. So you understand and you can be compassionate to yourself as you learn your way.
I didn't even know. I didn't know that that's what was really going on. That's
Right.
what it is.
Mm,
Changing my life, opening my time. Or
yeah.
really, that makes me feel really sad and lonely.
Hmm. Yeah, spend some time, I think going forward, spend some time with what you're afraid of if you open up your time, if you open up space for somebody.
And I love that, that if I'm triggered, turn it back around on me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay.
All
Thank
right, so
you.
we'll leave it there for today.
Yeah. Okay. I feel a lot better. Yeah. I feel really just, hmm.
You know,
I don't,
I guess the goal isn't really to feel necessarily better, though we often do. The goal is just to reconnect to ourselves. And when we do that, when we hear ourselves think and we spend time with ourselves, it feels really good.
yeah, that's how I
Connect with
feel.
anybody, right? When we've connected a little bit and learn more about ourselves or somebody else, we can get to this unconditional loving space and knowing that I love me even though I'm not perfect. I love him even though he's not perfect. So we can get to this place where we can unconditionally love and accept someone and unilaterally. So I'm going to love and unconditionally love you. I'm going to love you even if you don't love me back because it feels good to me to love. Loving feels good.
Yeah, I want to get there. I'm not there because that made my body feel tense again.
Right, right. So and this is
Yeah.
what we're believing love is going to give us something. Love is going to make us feel better or safer or what is it? What are we hoping love is going to give us
Mm, that's
that we don't think we can get from ourselves?
yeah. And like just before, like just a few minutes ago, um, my body did feel more relaxed because I love that I don't even want to right now step back into my busy life where I have my time is I've like right up until I go to bed. I know what's going on and what I'm doing. I have to do this and then that and then this and then that.
Right.
And right now I'm like, it's okay because it's all right. Like, you
So
know,
what's so interesting, right? Is you just heard a truth for yourself that feels way better. I don't want to be scheduled from morning till night.
I didn't even know. So I do want to open my life to have someone in it. Yeah, that feels really good. Then shift into if I thought, how can I do that? I'm gonna get the kids to help out more.
Mm. There's
Hmm.
the inspired action, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's so amazing. When we get to this feeling, it feels calmer, it feels more peaceful. We get this inspired action and it feels excited. We know what we want to do.
Yeah.
And that's our inner wisdom saying, yep, there it is. This is
Yeah.
what we're doing.
That's the yip. I
Right.
feel that. Yeah. Feels good.
All
Oh,
right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording here. Um, we'll say goodbye on here.
yeah. Okay.
We'll talk to you in a minute.